Welcome to episode 3 of Breaking Bats presented by Not For Long Media. I am Brian O'Grady. With me is my co-host, Justin Ayers. We are recording this on Tuesday, March 1st, so we have a little bit of extra news to break down. Our guest today is Jared Carrabis from Barstool Sports. Just an awesome interview, and we'll get more into that in a minute here. But first, JA, what do we got going on today?
Yeah, so you mentioned it. There's a pretty decent amount of baseball news to kind of sift through, and what a 24-hour period it's been for the sport. This is definitely one of those times of year where you get the Twitter out and you have Bob Nightingale and Jeff Passan and all these guys tweets just refreshing constantly to see what's going on. But yeah, so for the first time since the 94-95 Players season, the first week of games has been canceled. Major League Baseball and the MLBPA could not agree to a new deal. Bob Nightingale, what a run for Bob Nightingale. I know people don't usually like Bob Nightingale from USA Today Sports, but so like this whole yesterday, they were trying to get this thing negotiated because they set a deadline that was supposed to be for yesterday to get this thing done, and then they pushed it back to Tuesday, March 1st at 5 p.m. Eastern. So we had Bob Nightingale up tweeting until 3 a.m. There was 13 rounds of bargaining between the union and the owners. It ended at 2:30 a.m. So Bob Nightingale was the only one who was reporting that. So shout out him. A little redemption arc there for our guy Bob. But they met again today, and they could not agree to a new deal. And it's crazy because I think so much of this is we want to look at it from a one side win or loser. And even Rob Manfred, who came out today when he announced that games will be canceled, he said both sides are to blame. But let's look at some of the numbers. I'm not the biggest, I don't know a ton about this stuff. I'm not a lawyer. But so MLB's proposal, the owner's proposal today, they would up the minimum salary to $700K. That's up from $570,500 last year. That's the largest single increase in baseball history. So good for them for agreeing to that. But the big sticking point was this competitive balance tax, the CBT. That anytime you see those abbreviations on Twitter, that's what that means. So the Players Union, they wanted that luxury tax. They wanted it to go from 238 to 44 to 50 to 56 to 63. And then MLB counter with 220, 220, 220, 224, and 230. So they were so far off on that. And there also this pre-arbitration bonus pool, which would have given, I think it's the top 20 or 30 guys before they get to arbitration, based on their wins above replacement number. It would have given them a little extra kickback. I think Corbin Burns, the Cy Young Award winner, only made $500,000. So under this, he would have made a couple mil, I think, which it's not a lot when you think about it, but to these guys, it is. So that this is a brand new thing. It's I was telling you earlier, Brian, this has never been a thing before. So the Players Union wanted, I think originally 100 or 120. And then baseball is how about 5? And then baseball eventually, I think, came up to 25 and the union dropped it to 85. But when you're working with a gap that big, it just was never really going to happen. But those are pretty much the high level numbers that I can understand from my perspective. But I was saying, all this stuff going down on Twitter today, you're following along with it. When you see all this stuff happening, what were your thoughts?
It's crazy. It's crazy. I can't believe it's gotten this far. I've gotten multiple texts from people already saying, what do you think about it? And in my head, I'm I made the best decision ever this year. But with that being said, I never thought, and I said this, I was on Ben & Woods earlier in the week or last week, and I said I never thought that it would get this far. I can't believe it's actually coming to this. I thought it was going to be, an absolute brawl of negotiations, but I did not think we were going to cancel games or see any of this play out the way it has. It's tough. The players definitely are right in the things they are fighting for and the amount of money that they believe they should have the opportunity to make. The owners, they're not going to give in easy. Those are great businessmen. That's why they're in the positions they're in. But my overall thought is that I'm sad for baseball. I'm sad for fans. I'm sad for players not getting to play. It affects not the big guys, but it affects a lot of guys who are really trying to get there. And I'm sad that fans have to go through this and that they're going to miss these games, and that it's just, it's just a wet blanket on everything. It's just kind of impeding the progress of the popularity of the sport, in the country. Now, everything you said, I heard Trevor May speaking the other day. I think it was last week, and it's kind of a conspiracy theory, but it's also just kind of becoming more and more true to me. And basically what he said, for those who didn't hear this, was that Trevor May is a reliever for the New York Mets. He basically said that he believes Rob Manfred put together a formula, we'll say, and brought it to the owners that if they were willing to cancel a month of the season, cancel a month of games, the players' union would cave and agree to the terms that the owners wanted for the CBA. And by doing that, it would make the owners, let's just say, an extra $1 billion over the life of the CBA. I hope that's not true. I really hope that is not true, because that is just, to the game, that is terrible. To the fans, it is absolutely terrible. But the more I think about how this is all going on and what we're seeing now, I could definitely see that being true. I hope it's not. What do you think?
Yeah, I saw something like along those lines where I think somebody was theorizing that, like, somebody said it, from their perspective, from the owner's perspective, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever to lose a month's worth of games in April when the weather's bad, the attendance sucks. And, there's always buzz for opening day and opening week and all that stuff. But then it kind of wanes when you get into April. So I did see some of those rumors floating around, but yeah, this is absolutely a black eye for the game. It's a black eye for Rob Manfred. He comes out looking terrible in all of this. I was just scrolling through Twitter and trying to see what some of the reaction was. And somebody said, asked a player for his reaction to Rob Manfred laughing after postponing the start of the regular season. And the player said, quote, "Are you talking about the guy who cut 42 minor league teams and called the World Series trophy a hunk of metal?" So, we forget that the battle at the major league level has been going on, but the battle at the minor league level has been happening for a while. Cutting teams, teams losing affiliation, minor league players going through their own, plight. So it's a bad time in the game of baseball. And just Twitter has just been ablaze today with all the hot takes and everything. So I'm sad we're going to miss the first week of baseball. They're not going to be made up. Nobody's going to get paid. And I don't think we come out of this with any sort of clarity regarding when we're actually going to see this come to an end. I don't know if there's I don't get the sense we're even close to anything.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the other big takeaways is there's no negotiations scheduled currently. So does that mean if they don't talk for 4 days, another 4 games for sure are getting canceled? I'm not sure how that works, but that would make sense in my little brain. I can't, the Rob Manfred thing was like laughing and smiling when he was about to tell the reporters that they canceled games is you just gotta know better than that. You really, really do, because it doesn't matter to anybody on the outside. That is just such a bad look, and it just makes you look like you don't care, which I hope is not the case. He already doesn't have a great reputation in terms of that. So to just have that lack of feel to get up there laughing and tell the world that you are actually missing games and they're not being made up, that blows my mind. You would think you would walk up there with a somber kind of demeanor and be upset that you couldn't figure it out, couldn't get it together, and couldn't get this done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just, again, addicted to Bob Nightingale's Twitter feed. He said the MLB and the union have agreed to resume negotiations in New York. I haven't seen a timetable for that. But yeah, just like there's fans all outside this place. It was, I think you said it was in Jupiter, Florida, where the Cardinals and Marlins play.
Yeah.
So there was just like people lined up with signs. They were chanting, "We want baseball." Remember how I said that they're up until 3:30 in the morning negotiating? There was people out there like peering through the little picket fence, trying to see Max Scherzer, who was like a local celebrity down there, signing autographs for everybody. And that was kind of the barometer for how the negotiations were going, was how Max Scherzer, like how pissed he looked getting into his car, was kind of the barometer for how the negotiations were for the outside world. But yeah, what a weird time for the sport. But the only good news out of all of this is Japanese baseball is still starting on time, right?
Japanese baseball is absolutely starting on time. So the Seibu Lions, I will be heading out at the end of this week. So the Seibu Lions, my team, is open to all fans that need a team. We saw, and that was you saw. I mean, Bryce Harper put an Instagram. I don't know if you saw that, Jay. He put up an Instagram story of himself in a Yomiuri Giants jersey, which I'm sure had people in Japan going pretty nuts. So that is exciting. The one thing I do just want to add about the canceling of the games, it's been 3 years now. Well, including this year, it'll be 3 years that we have not had a normal season here in the United States for baseball. COVID, 2020, all the things that happened there, all the games that were lost there. Then last year in the beginning of the season, it was still not, just go to spring training. All the fans can be there. There was not attendance at every place or full capacity or whatever. And now we're going to miss at least the first 6 games here. So that's sad. It's sad that we haven't. And Ben and Wood said this on the first episode, since they've had their radio show going there, they haven't gotten to just have a normal season there. So that's brutal for fans. But yep, again, Japanese baseball starting on time, March 25th, opening day. I will be there. I'll be ready, and I'll be very excited to run out there and play some baseball.
You said the Seibu Lions are your team. They're all of our teams. They might end up being America's team because there's a need for baseball. Like, I think I'm going to get into college baseball a little bit. That guy from NC State who has like 9 homers in 10 games or whatever.
Dude,
Tommy Tanks.
That guy. Oh my goodness. I mean, not to take anything away from the kid. I sound like an old person right now. And like, get off my lawn. That's unbelievable. I don't care what level you do that at. That is flat out fucking amazing. I keep looking at these damn videos of him hitting Tanks to dead center and like right center. I'm like, someone throw him inside. Jesus Christ, what are we doing here? Like, try something different. The kid clearly hits every single pitch on the plate out to center, basically center field. So let's try something out. But yeah, Tommy Tanks. Holy shit, man. Have a start to your college career. He's probably got more homers in his first, 10 games of his college career than I did in my entire college career. So he's doing good. And what?
You weren't like back at Rutgers, you weren't Tommy Tanks Jr. back then?
No, I think I hit 1 my freshman year. I think I hit 2. I honestly probably finished my Rutgers career with like 12 homers. Also, granted, Rutgers they changed it now, but it was a gigantic graveyard and the wind was always blowing dead in from right field. So I'm not that bad. It just took me a little longer to figure it out. All right.
Tommy Tanks, 9 homers in 8 games, and he's batting .588 with 29 RBIs.
That plays. That will play.
That's pretty
well. Speaking of the old Rutgers Scarlet Knights, they are off to a hot start this year. I believe they just beat St. Joe's today. They swept they went 2-1 on the weekend. I believe they are 6-1 right now. off to a high. I believe they're 6-1, which is a very good start for the old fighting Scarlet Knights. So shout out to them. We got anything else we need to cover here
No,
about today's current events?
No, this just makes me want to double check and make sure I have ESPN Plus so I can watch college baseball.
Absolutely, dude. There's a ton of college baseball on ESPN Plus. Seriously, a ton. It's like all on there. So
definitely going to be utilizing.
If you're looking, if you're gonna be looking to watch some college baseball, anybody, you are. ESPN Plus has it. Like I'm talking random games that you don't even know about. They're on there.
Love that.
But,
all right, yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, shout out. College baseball's great, man. It's a different game than the pro style, but it is great nonetheless. It is very passionate, nonstop. The kids are all about it, and it's there's a lot of really good ball players that are playing. So definitely give it a shot if you got ESPN Plus and are interested. Before we get to the interview, so we have Jared Carrabis today from Barstool. He's currently a free agent, and we talk about that in there. But most people know him from Barstool. He has the Starting Nine podcast, Section 10 podcast was still going on, and then Call Me Poppy, I believe is the third one that was him and David Ortiz, right?
Yeah. Call him Poppy. They're still releasing episodes on YouTube, Poppy. I think. But yeah, like you said, starting 9, I don't think has new episodes, but Section 10 still cranking them out. So he's staying busy. He's also been very funny to follow on Twitter through all this. I think he said if there's no games, he's gonna like cannonball into a volcano. So
yeah, he talks about all that in the interview. He watches like every game, every single night. He's got 10 TVs set up. Just a really funny dude. Was awesome. Talk about everything for a long time. Has been great to us. We've been talking since then. Cebu, he's officially a Cebu Lions fan too, and we'll talk about that in there. What else you got, Jay?
No, it's just like he's such a fascinating guy because you're right. I think he's the most locked in baseball fan. And he's had such a great career at Barstool Sports, like the 2018 Red Sox, talked about like getting a ring, being on the duck boat, just like being as locked into a team in the World Series run without actually having to like be a player. Beloved by many, the tribal chief of baseball Twitter, 390,000 followers. And he's also an unbiased national baseball journalist to boot. So this guy's the total package. And it was a really, really fun, like the time flew by. Like we almost did 2 hours with him accidentally. Like we looked down and we're like, oh, wow. Okay. This is quite a long conversation, but it was good though.
Yeah, it was awesome. Had a ton of fun. He will definitely be joining us again in the future, hopefully a recurring guest. And with all that said, we'll send you over to the interview with the Rocket, Jared Carrabis. Joining us today on Breaking Bats, we got a special guest, Jared Carrabis, tribal chief of Twitter, without a doubt. Baseball Twitter, sorry, not tribal chief of Twitter. That's
a big audience. Yeah.
Impressive.
It's a lot of people.
Honorary Red Sox, owns real estate in every Yankees fan's dome that's on Twitter because I crack up at that.
Facts.
Thanks for hopping on the pod, as they say, man.
What's going on, man? This is exciting. I'm excited to do this. The point about the Yankee fans too, they're evolving. They're evolving to where at first they weren't in on the joke and it would drive them insane. But now I'm not saying that they're all the way in on the joke, but they're to the point where they know that it's tongue in cheek, but they still can't prevent themselves from getting upset anyway, so it's the best of both worlds. So like I at least have the out where it's like, that I'm joking, but I'm still making you mad.
Dude, it cracks me up because I'm from Philly, so naturally I grew up not liking New York sports teams. If the Yankees wanted to pay me a lot of money to play for them, I would gladly do that. But until that time comes, I enjoy seeing the hatred and all that stuff that goes on. Especially, I went to Rutgers, which was in Jersey, so I was split between the two. So I enjoy it, especially your tweets, when you're tweeting highlights of the games that go on, and it's like fucking Garrett Cole, whatever, striking somebody out, and he's giving up just like a nuke, or it's like Judge with an unbelievable catch, and he's like standing watching a ball go into the stands.
Right.
I think that shit is so funny.
I think those two dudes specifically do not have a sense of humor about it. Like there's some dudes on the Yankees that like I'm friends with some guys on the Yankees and they think it's funny. I think those two guys specifically, Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge, do not think that it's funny. I was standing, I was on the field at the All-Star game in Denver back in July and was 3 feet away from both of them. Nothing. They were just like, wouldn't even look at me. And I'm like, all right, dude, like I'm not, but then that's when that story came out. Like a few weeks later, like JD Martinez was mic'd up and he was telling the story about how like Garrett Cole came off the bus. And I think it was like him, Rafi, and Xander, like they said hi to him and he just like kept walking straight. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think with those two guys, if you leaned into it, people like they're not engaging with me because they're like, we want to protect the sanctity of the Red Sox Yankees rivalry. I think that they're just not engaging with me because they're sensitive. If you wanted to lean into it, it would be so like people would have so much respect for them if they leaned into it or even gave me shit back. Then like that's what they should be doing, but they're not.
Yeah, I don't know either of those guys personally. Never met either of them, so I can't. They might be great,
and they are. Judge is a friend of a friend. Like I know someone that like knew him before he got drafted. They're like, yeah, he's a fun guy. He's funny. Like we love hanging out with him. Great guy. And I'm like, I'm not saying he's not a great guy. I'm just saying his sense of humor is probably not that great. If you can't laugh at yourself, if you can't lean into it with the dude that's just wearing you out every single night for years. And I don't know, like, I'm not going to like toot my own horn here, but I don't know that there's anyone with a bigger audience who rides him harder than me. I don't think that person exists. So if you were him, clap back. Like, it's not like there's no way that he doesn't know because like, I know the circles that he runs in and like the friends that he has, like that's where the players see stuff. And I'm sure you can speak to this as well. But the players find out about people chirping them on Twitter because their friends or their family will see it and text it to them. It's not that like guys like Aaron Judge are sitting there searching his name on Twitter and reading through everything that everyone's saying. It'll be like his friends will be like, yeah, this dude's clowning you again. Like that's how they find out about that stuff. It's not like he doesn't know. So I don't know. Maybe someday he'll lean into it.
You're right. It would be fucking hilarious if he did. Everyone would think that would be great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes dudes who are like big time or whatever, like they try to stay away from that because they think all these other people are going to be, or if they like suck afterwards, that people are going to talk shit and be like, oh, he was doing this on Twitter and now he's over his last 20. Like, just fucking worry about your job and all that stupid shit. But and for me personally, I'm obviously, like I said, not nearly as big as those dudes, but I've found it is for sure better to lean into that stuff and mess with fans, talk shit with them, and they love you if you do that. Instead of they might heckle you, but then it turns into like good fun. It's not like we don't fucking like you, you stink. It's joking about whatever it is.
Like at the end of the day, I am a baseball fan who somehow infiltrated the mainstream media. So, and I'm very open about I have my stable of guys. And if you're not in that stable, you're just not protected. So like Luke Voit, he's one of my guys. Gio Urshela, he's one of my guys. They play for the Yankees. I won't say a bad word about either one of them. I'll every time that Luke Voit tweets a home run, like I'll tweet his home runs. I'll tweet them out. And then the Yankee fans will be like, I was waiting for it to get caught. And I'm like, I like Luke Voit. If Aaron Judge just leaned into it, he'd be one of my guys. And I would never say a bad word about him ever again. I can be bought. I can 1000% be bought. If Aaron Judge was like, you know what? I love this guy. He's funny. I like him. Be like, boom. If he came on the podcast, next thing you know, I'm tweeting every single Aaron. I'm taking out, because I'm a stat geek at heart. So my favorite thing about baseball statistics is that there's just so many ways that you can manipulate them to make your favorite players look good and the ones that you don't like look bad. I love doing that shit. It's awesome. I would, if Aaron Judge wanted to join me, if we could join forces together, I would be tweeting all the most ridiculous Aaron Judge statistics that people didn't even realize how good he was on a nightly basis. And who knows? I mean, like, I may even endear myself to the Yankee fan base because that's their guy.
What do you think about that, Jay? Is that something
I'm just
you would roll with there?
I mean, I've seen Judge do like Fallon. He seems like he has a personality. I'm more like curious about Giancarlo Stanton. Is it safe to say we're going to see some Stantonian blasts coming from your account on like a missed third strike?
I mean, a Stantonian blast is actually, there's a definition to that after the wild card game. We now identify a Stantonian blast is a wall ball single. That's a Stantonian blast now.
Stantonian blast.
Yes. But I like Giancarlo. He was my favorite player before he went to the Yankees. He was my favorite player. I gave him the nickname Big Dick Stanton. And when I met him, he was already with the Yankees by the time I met him. He was playing in Yelich's celebrity softball tournament. And I was like, yeah, like, have you heard the nickname Big Dick Stanton? He was like, yeah. I was like, that was me. And he was like, oh, well, thank you for that. I was like, yeah. I also torch you on every single Instagram picture that you post. And he's like, what do you say? I'm like, whatever the picture is or whatever the caption is, like, I'll just torch you based on what you're wearing, what you're doing, what you're saying, and what the caption is. And he's like, all right, like, I respect that. And I was like, yeah, like, I was like, I'll tell you to your face like that. I'm going to clown on you, but it's only because you're on the Yankees. Before that, you were one of my favorite players. So yeah, like, I'll clown on Stanton because he was cool in person, but he hasn't been on the podcast. So there's kind of like a middle ground where, like, I love Stanton. So if he hits a home run that's, 480 something feet, I'm going to tweet that highlight. But if he has one of like the ugliest, like, swings and misses on a pitch that he misses up or down or in or out by 20 feet. Like, when he strikes out swinging, it's ugly. So I very much enjoy doing the troll tweets with him where it's like, yeah, he just hit one into the fifth deck and he missed on a slider away by 20 feet. So he gets the best of it. He's one of the biggest, I think, like, tweener guys that I have on like a regular basis.
When you look at the way the Yankees are built this year with Joey Gallo and all these free swingers, like, is that just going to be like open season for guys like you? Like, I don't see another way that the Yankees could be competitive when they have like 9 of the same dudes in the lineup.
So like when they got Rougned Odor and then they were interested in Gallo, it's almost like I got giddy. Like, I'm trying to think of like the correct comparison. Like if you were playing like, if you were playing like a fantasy baseball league and you're in the draft and then the two guy, like your rival in that league picks some absolute shit bum and the guy that you want is still on the board. That's how it felt as a Red Sox fan. I was like, why do they keep adding all the same player over and over again? Like, they're just adding these all or nothing hitters in their lineup. There's so much swing and miss in that lineup, and they think that they're getting better. They're getting worse. Like, it's strange to think that way when you're saying to yourself, well, I'm a fan, so I can't be smarter than the people that are in the front office. Like, that's just not how that works. I'm just a fan. But you're sitting there looking at it and like, this isn't going to work. There's no way this is going to work. And it didn't work. And like the Corey Kluber thing, you're like, like the Yankee fans, after they signed Corey Kluber, I was getting a bunch of people trolling me being like, oh, we got Corey Kluber. You guys got Garrett Richards. And it's like, Corey Kluber hasn't been good in 4 years. Like, what are you celebrating? It's like, yeah, he won 2 Cy Young awards, but like, that was a long time ago. So yeah, I don't know. It makes it fun. It makes it fun to see them have hope. And it's almost like you're looking at a movie script and you can skip to the end. It's like, this is way more enjoyable in this particular moment because I can see how excited you are right now. But just looking to the end of this script, this is going to end awesome. Like, you are going to be fucking in tears and the Red Sox are going to end your season. We were saying that in July, whatever it was, June, like once Tampa leapfrogged Boston and they got out to whatever lead that they got in the second half of the season, I was saying in July, August, you know, it would be awesome. I know the Red Sox probably aren't going to win the division at this point, but what if the Red Sox play the Yankees in the wild card game, do or die, and it's at Fenway Park and they end their season? I was saying that after the fucking All-Star game. So that was enjoyable. I don't want to say like that was our World Series because that's a loser mentality. It wasn't. It was fun. I enjoyed it, but that wasn't our World Series.
I fucking love it. That cracks me up. But enough for right now about the Yankees. Let's do some hard hitting questions first.
Okay.
What will it take for us to steal your bang bang skeet skeet intro to the podcast?
So technically that was used twice, but it just lives in infamy forever. And do you know the story behind it?
No, I don't. Tell me.
So this was in the beginning of 2019. The Red Sox won the World Series in 18. And they started the season like 3-11 or something like that. And there was like a late April series going into the Bronx to play the Yankees, and they hadn't won a series yet. And I was like, if they lose this series this weekend against the Yankees, we're not talking about baseball until they win a series. Like, I'm not breaking down those games. I was like, if they lose both games, like, we're a Suns podcast now. I just thought of the most random shitty team that I could think of. I was like, we're a Suns podcast if they lose both of these games. They lost both games. So we came back. We did a full hour and a half episode we went from Section 10 to Suns Out, Guns Out was the name of the podcast. We had to do a whole new intro, and we did an hour and a half podcast on the Phoenix Suns. And I think they won the next series after that. So that Sogo was a one-off. We only did one episode of it, and that was it. But that's crazy because 2019, coming off a championship season, our Suns Out, Guns Out merch was our top seller in 2019 from one podcast episode.
That makes no sense at all, but that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh my
we love
God.
the Suns.
They're a good fucking team now. So
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you guys helped them out.
Yeah.
Dude, how the fuck did you get here? Like, seriously though, like, Red Sox fan. And we were talking about this before we started recording, but like, where you're at now, bro, is fucking crazy. Like, what's that journey been like? How did it happen?
Oh man. I still don't believe it. And it hasn't hit me. I can't really comprehend it because I just started and I haven't stopped. I never took a second to just look back and be like, damn, that was cool. It's always just like, all right, well, what's next? Like, what do we do next? How do we make this better? How do we make it bigger? I started my blog when I was 16. I was a junior in high school. I actually just like a few days ago, just reconnected with this girl that I went to high school with. And we probably haven't spoken since high school. And she was like, it's fucking crazy that you're doing what you're doing, but also at the same time, what else would you be doing? So I started my website when I was 16. I was a junior. I did that for 8 years. I got noticed by Barstool. They hired me to be their Red Sox guy. A couple of years later, they wanted to expand and do all of MLB. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. No problem. So I started doing full MLB coverage. We started Section 10 in 2015, which was the last place season. So that kind of set the tone for the show. It was like, we have to be entertaining because this team fucking sucks. They were in last place. The team blew. So that kind of set like the sarcastic comedic tone for the podcast that it has today is like, this team sucks. Like, what are we going to do? We have to make the best of the situation. 2017 was when I moved to New York, which kind of changed everything. People refer to it as getting the chance to sit at the big kids table, which that's what it felt like, being at Barstool by that point for 3 years, whatever it was, but not being in New York, there's different, like you're viewed differently if you're in New York or not in New York. So I did that for 3 years, came home and was told that would be a step back if I left New York. which I think I've proven to be false. That's when we started doing the podcast with David Ortiz, call him Poppy. That happened after I moved home. 2017 was also when we began starting 9 with Dallas Braden, who's awesome. That's because Dave Portnoy, he was like, we need to do a national podcast, so I'm going to cancel Section 10. And I was like, the fuck you are? I was like, you're not going to do that. I was like, I can do both. He's like, oh, you think you can do both? I was like, yeah, I can do both. So, yeah, I mean, like I enjoy it. It's crazy to see, where it's gotten to, the stuff that I've been able to do, and just from, I guess, starting a Red Sox podcast to doing the baseball show that I do with Dallas, and meeting, I mean, like a lot of the dudes that we've had on the podcast have just, like, we've just stayed in touch and like become friends. And it's, you've got like this network of players where, like yes, it's my job, but my fan experience as a baseball fan, I don't think anyone can beat it, because I was telling you before I came on, I have the 10 TVs mounted on my wall. So I'm watching every single game, every single night. I'll sit there from 7 p.m. when the East Coast games start till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning when the West Coast games are over. And as games are happening and ending, there's a good chance that they're like someone that made an impact in one of the games that I just watched. I can shoot them a text after, or like there are certain guys that have like certain superstitions. Like, we know baseball is very superstitious. I would talk to Tyler Glasnow after every single one of his starts last year, every single one. Like we would break it down. We would break it down. And then like after the Red Sox games, we had the positive vibes only club. So there was like a bunch of guys in the Red Sox. We would only talk after wins. Sometimes after bad losses, we would pick each other up. If it was just a regular loss, it's whatever. We just wouldn't talk. We'll talk tomorrow if we win. But after wins, we would all just like positive vibes, like giving each other props. And that's crazy. That's crazy that there were certain points last year where the game would end. The guy, like one of the guys would walk up, you would see him on TV walk off the field, and then it's like their name would pop up on your phone 90 seconds later. So it's so much fun. Like it's like dream job doesn't cover it, because I feel like people are like, oh yeah, this is my dream job. Like I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I couldn't to the T customize a job that is more for me than what I do. And that's why, it is time consuming, and it is during the season 7 days a week. I don't take days off. I don't take weekends off. I don't take nights off. I don't have my mornings off. Like the only time that I take off is 4 to 6 to go to the gym and have dinner. That's it. That's my window. Like if I wake up at 9 and start working by 10, then I'm working until 2 a.m. and I'm taking those 2 hours to just have to myself or whatever. And that's like 7 straight months, or 8. I mean, if you include when we go to spring training, we're banking a bunch of interviews, because we do Florida, which sucks. Florida spring training is the worst, and then Arizona is way better. But yeah, I mean that's the gig. I love it. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. But how I ended up there is just consistency, hard work, and a lot of luck. Like I know that there are people out there that are smarter when it comes to baseball. They might be more entertaining. They might be more energetic. You cannot exceed my passion. You can only match it. But I know that like there are people that are qualified to be doing what I'm doing, and it's me. Like I got that opportunity and I've run with it, and I certainly don't take it for granted.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I mean, to end up, fucking Glass is unbelievable, dude.
He's the man.
What a guy that is.
Yeah.
So that's just, I could picture that totally. That's so funny. But yeah, to be a fan like you are and like have these experiences and talk to people like that and talk to players, man, that's crazy. But like you said, you worked hard for it, so you deserve it. And man, I'm sure there's gonna be a whole lot more coming than what's already happened. But the Big Poppy thing, dude, that's Is that the most fucking bonkers thing to you right there? Like your best friend's David Ortiz. Is that just that crazy?
It's insane, but at this point, like there's nothing I think that could happen at this point that would just absolutely blow my mind. Like the David Ortiz thing happened. The World Series parade happened. They gave me a fucking World Series ring, dude. Like what? Like I'm a fan. I didn't do shit. I didn't earn that. So the parade was nuts too, because it was like we were on the duck boats, and yeah, I think they have media duck boats or whatever, where they put like all the nerds on there. It was different for us because we were obviously not players on the team, but Section 10 blew up in 18. So we were looking out into the crowd, and there are signs for us. People are wearing Section 10 t-shirts all over the place. Like there's a video that we just put on the Section 10 YouTube channel. When I'm on the duck boat, I can't hear what people are saying in the crowd, but like it was a big supercut of all the cell phone videos. People are like, I'm standing next to fucking JD Martinez, who was undoubtedly the best offensive player on the team that just won the World Series, and people are screaming for me and Coley. It's stupid. It's stupid. Like I'm a blogger turned podcaster, whatever you want to call it, content creator. And I've got to live essentially the life of a big leaguer without having to fucking see a single fastball. Not one. I've never, the only time I've ever stared down 90 plus was when we played at the Field of Dreams game. And there was like some dude that was like a D3 kid, and like he was throwing 90. And I went back to the dugout. They were like, what's he got? I was like, I don't know. It looks like 75. And they were like, we had him at 92 on the gun. I was like, well, comes out of his hand at 75. Not a lot of spin. So like in 2019, there was a single A team that did a bobblehead night for me because it was one of their promotions. Topps gave me a Allen and Ginter baseball card. I got a ring, and I was in the fucking parade. What else do I need to do besides actually step in the batter's box or toe the slab? That's it. Everything else has been checked off. Like lucky is not even the word. So I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's insane. I know that you're probably more passionate about the Boston Red Sox than most people are about their individual teams. I'm curious about your transition to unbiased national baseball journalist. How has that been for you, and what's it been like, assuming that mantle?
So I think that's been fun because I think it really all started with like networking with certain guys within the league. And I know it sounds crazy, but say I'm not gambling on these games. I'm just watching. Like I can sit down and watch the St. Louis Cardinals versus the Milwaukee Brewers and be super into it because of certain guys that on certain teams like that. It's a very unique fan experience because the casual fan is not going to be able to sit there and be like, yeah, like I'm boys with Nolan Arenado. Like, no, you're not. You're just not. But like, if you're sitting there watching these games and it's like one of your friends is on both teams, like there's just certain stuff. We were talking about this. We were talking on this on Section 10 of like a month ago. And I was like, I wish that like the broadcast could be more edgy, because there was one game that I was watching and they had never faced each other before. And the dude who was pitching was facing a hitter who was dating the pitcher's like girlfriend, like really serious girlfriend. And like they were friends, but now it's awkward between them. I was like, I'm the only one who's sitting on the edge of my seat with this drama. No one else knows this, or at least like I'm sure like their circle of friends are aware of this, but they don't even care about baseball. They're probably not even watching this. There's probably one person on planet Earth that's watching this at bat with this kind of suspense and this much drama awareness. Like I love that shit. So being an unbiased national baseball journalist, I think it's a lot of fun because I think what's cool is most fan bases have given me a shot. They're like, they know that I'm a diehard Red Sox fan, but they also know that I'm super passionate about other teams. Like I can get invested in your team. Like the Atlanta Braves last year, I tweeted on like January 13th, the Atlanta Braves are going to win the World Series this year. And I just rode that wave, and then they won the World Series. So there was no bandwagon jumping. Like Braves fans were like super down with me pumping their tires all year. And then the same thing with the Mariners. Like I think I was watching, it was like July or August maybe. And it was the game that they came back to beat the Astros. It was the game before they traded Kendall Graveman. And I just started calling them America's team from then. And then like that stuff catches on, and Mariners fans are like, fuck yeah. Like no one else cares about the Mariners. Like this guy has a national audience, and he's calling us America's team. We like this guy. And so every year, you know, I kind of try to like endear myself to certain markets to be like, hey, I know that, you know, I'm a Red Sox fan, but let me show you that I love all baseball, and I want to showcase your team's best players, so that if you're a team on the West Coast, that fans on the East Coast can be like, hey, like, you know, we like this Taylor Trammell guy on the Mariners, like who I've never heard of him before, like, you know, stuff like that.
Old T-Train, that's my boy.
I love him.
Back to the Reds right there. Yeah. We were, he was a little bit younger than me, but yeah, we were together in the minors with the Reds. And then I saw him this past year a few times too. What a guy.
Super
good,
nice. Literally one of the nicest guys in the world. Like won't even curse.
Nope. And he's a stud, man. Just a serious athlete. But I don't even like really honestly want to fucking talk about this. And by the time this podcast comes out, and like hopefully for your guys' sake, it won't even be relevant. But in the most concise way possible, what do you got on the lockout?
So,
because I feel like everyone's just sick of fucking hearing it at this point. Like,
yeah. There's a couple different thoughts that I have about it. Obviously, like I'm on the player side. I think there wasn't enough time, I think, to land this plane, but it almost seemed too obvious to what the solution was. Like, I agree that like these players, the stars in the game today are 22, 23 years old. Like they should be getting paid for the production that they're giving their teams. And instead of making whatever, it's like, all right, yeah, you're in your second year, we're going to give you 850 grand. It's like, cool. I'm worth 30 fucking million, dude. Like, what are we talking about? So the owners want to retain the 6 years of control on these guys, but the players are like, hey, these guys should be getting paid real money sooner because they're contributing like that. Like we're not waiting until the age 27, 28 seasons to see superstars reach their full potential. They're doing it right now in their early 20s. So I was like, why don't we just add more years of arbitration? Like, why don't players get to arbitration sooner? And when we were interviewing Nolan Arenado, he was like, you know, a lot of guys, they don't want to go to arbitration because teams say mean things about them there, and they're reluctant to go. He was like, well, there's a lot of real money to be made through that process. So yeah, I mean, there are teams out there that they will manipulate service time for years of control and things of that nature. But like these players should be getting compensated fairly, or at least somewhat fairly, because that's not even really possible. Like you're not going to have a 22-year-old making $30 million a year. But they shouldn't be making $850K. Like that's not what it should be. So that just felt too obvious to me. I'm on the player side. The last time around, it kind of flip-flopped, and I think it got annoying during the 2020 kind of COVID year where everyone was on the player side because they wanted to get compensated. But then you had the tell us when and where, and then the owners told them when and where, and then they were like, yeah, but still we want it to be on our terms. So that's when it kind of got a little weird in 2020. This time around, I think, you know, the players' asks are fair. The average length of a major league career is getting shorter, which is, you know, that's the nature of the beast. human beings being treated as these commodities that are expendable. It's like, all right, yeah. I mean, if you're not blowing 98, we don't have a spot in our bullpen for you. Sorry. Like there's just too many guys that you can pluck out of obscurity and be like, yeah, he throws 98. We're going to give him a shot. Like we can work with that. And then you also have this, I guess, warped perception that baseball is doing okay or great at compensating their players. When you see guys like Seager getting $325 million and Mookie Betts getting $365 million, it's like that's the top of the top. Like that's just such a small percentage of guys that are making that elite money. And then you have the middle of the pack guys where the average major league salary is decreasing. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's decreasing. And then you have the percentage of players that aren't even making $1 million when everyone's like, oh, they're a bunch of millionaires whining over their millions. It's like, what is it? 61% of the league isn't even making $1 million.
61%. Yep.
That's fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. There's something about that I don't know why that's not more widely known, because that's what it is. It's like, well, all these millionaire players are whining about their millions. Okay, so if you're against the players, then you are now siding with billionaire owners. So if you want people to shut up about their money, I would say side with the people that are not being compensated fairly. That would be the players. So I'm with them on this. I think when it's all said and done and we do have an agreement, I don't know that it's going to, actually, I do know it's probably not going to be viewed as a resounding win for the players. I think it's just going to be a situation where the owners, they're going to hold out for what they want because they know that April ticket sales, they're not great. People don't go to baseball games in April. So they're happy to miss those games. It's like, we're probably losing money by putting players on the field, given what we're getting at the gate and concessions and all that. And then the TV money is obviously where they make their bread and butter. But yeah, I'm sure the owners are more than happy to pound through April without playing any baseball games. And then they can get their expanded playoffs, which gives them more money. And then you have the players that are like, we're not trying to miss spring training, because now if we have a shortened spring training, we're way more likely to get hurt. And our bodies are our currency. And if we're not out there playing games, then in April, when you're happy to not be playing games, we're not getting paid. So, and that's the other thing too, is I think a lot of fans don't realize that these big leaguers that are getting paid whatever it is, like, say I'm getting paid $1.5 million for the year, you get paid that during the season. Like, you're not getting paid in the off season. So you're not getting that bi-weekly check or that monthly check. You get paid during the season. And if you're not playing the games, you ain't getting paid at all. So a lot of these guys, their last paycheck hasn't come since fucking September. So yeah, it's a whole big clusterfuck. I hope they get something done soon. I'm sick of hearing about the meetings and Jeff Passan being like, nothing got done today. Nothing was supposed to get done today. We didn't expect anything to get done today, but just letting you know, nothing got done today. It's like, thank you, Jeff.
It's insane. I think this lockout has done such a good job of just pointing out how much in the game of baseball is just truly broken. And I mean, like, I'm an Orioles fan, and I think tanking is the worst thing ever. Like, I think that the Astros and the Cubs have broken baseball by making teams think that you can lose 100 games for 5 straight years and be good again. Do you think that's a bigger problem than people are talking about? The teams that the competitive balance in the game of baseball today?
Yeah. Pretty much they're on an annual basis. I know that there's some surprises when it comes to the projections that Fangraphs or Pacoda or whoever throws out there. There will be some surprises, but there aren't usually a ton of like, oh, where did that team come from? Like, you can start the season. It's not like the NBA where you can just kind of pencil in the finals. But with Major League Baseball, there's too much focus on penalizing teams who spend versus not at all penalizing teams that don't spend. Like, I don't want to see Max Scherzer sign with the Mets, and then the big story is the side-by-side comparison to the Cleveland Indians' entire roster payroll, like being equal. We don't need that. I mean, like, you want to look at that and be like, hey, good for Steve Cohen for living up to the hype. I mean, this guy comes in here and everyone's like, damn, this guy billionaire and he loves the Mets and now he owns them. That's awesome. Let's see him do some wild shit. All right, cool. He just gave Max Scherzer $40 million a year. Okay, well, the Cleveland Indians, the Dolans they're paying the entire roster what Max Scherzer is making in one season. Like that shouldn't be a story, but it is. And in Pittsburgh, it's the same thing. It's great sports city. They go nuts for sports in Pittsburgh. If you're a Pirates fan, like you've been wearing a brown paper bag over your head for a decade now at this point. And I don't blame you. It's like great fans, terrible ownership. They don't try to compete. And I just don't understand. I mean, if it is run like a business, then I just don't understand why you would own a team to just collect money and not really care about winning a championship. There's only 30 Major League Baseball teams. You're telling me we can't find 30 individuals who are hell bent on winning a championship with whatever endless amounts of money? I'm sure there's plenty of people that, I mean, if you're a billionaire or you have $500 million or whatever it is, that you don't have any competitive spirit. Of course you do. That's how you got to where you are in life. Where are these competitive, absurdly rich people? And why aren't they owning Major League Baseball teams? That's my question.
Dude, I mean, you fucking hit the nail on the head with all of that shit. It's crazy too, because that's what takes away some of the, you talk about the vets or the middle guys not making as much money. Like that is a huge spot where they could be making money, is where those teams are just not even trying, So hopefully they figure that shit out and they can. I don't know. I really don't know.
The fucking Oakland A's, the biggest, the highest, most lucrative contract the Oakland A's have ever given out is still Eric Chavez. You fucking kidding me?
He's a hitting coach now.
Yeah, that is still to this day the most lucrative contract the Oakland A's have ever given out. Crazy.
It is.
Dude was on the cover of a video game in 2002.
Yeah. I give credit, the Rays and the A's are like the two teams, known for not really spending money, but they have good fucking teams.
They do.
So if you can figure out how to do that, then more power to you. But obviously those are two out of however many that, 30 teams or however many it is. But
look at what the Rays just did with Wander Franco. It's like you can draft and develop a monster, but when you identify your guy, you pay him. You pay him to stay. Like Matt Olson, is he getting paid? Matt Chapman, is he getting paid? No. Like that's what I'm saying. Is like it's so depressing to be an Oakland A's fan, and obviously, like I get all of that with Dallas. Like,
yeah,
I mean, that poor son of a bitch. He's just getting locked into being the voice of the team over there, and it's like, yeah, just in time for them to take a big old shit on the field for you to call that game. And Tampa, it's crazy that they've been able to have the sustained success that they've had with the resources that they have. But that's why, we're so excited to have Chaim Bloom in Boston, because he knows how to do that. And I don't want to call it a catch-22, because I think the smarter fans get it, or at least they should. I don't know how many examples you need to see, especially being in Boston, but Chaim Bloom knows how to build a roster without just throwing money at problems. And for a long time, that's what the Red Sox did. And it didn't work a lot of the time. Like Carl Crawford, $142 million, didn't work. Adrian Gonzalez, I think his extension was like $160 million. Didn't work. Pablo Sandoval, $95 million, did not work. I think Hanley got $82 million, which mixed results, like a lot of the big spends. And then David Price, $217 million. And you're paying him to pitch for the Dodgers now. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that didn't work either. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. You got a championship, and he was a big part of that. So I am a believer that if you win one championship throughout a window of a major contract, I think it's worth it. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think, the way that Heim can build these rosters without having to spend a ton of money, but he has the ability to, that kind of makes you the Dodgers. Like the Dodgers they have the sustained success. They have a lot of homegrown talent, but they have the ability to go out and trade for a Mookie Betts and then give him this monster extension so that he doesn't want to leave. But yeah, that's the competitive balance thing where, like, why if the Dodgers want to spend $500 million on their payroll,
why can't they
go nuts? Why are we penalizing them for that? Because clearly, like, you're going to have a good team for sure. You're going to have a good team if you spend that much money, but that money, and ask the Yankees this, does not equal championships. Just doesn't do it.
I had to throw that one in there.
Yeah, for facts.
I don't want
to unbiased.
I don't want to get your hopes up too much, but Heim was still in Tampa when they traded for me after 2019. So
you're a big Heim guy.
There could be a Boston reunion in the future. I don't know.
I would love that. If you're a Heim guy, then I mean, we're all Heim guys over here.
Yep. Heim left after that, but I would just never know. Boston would definitely be a place I would enjoy being. So you can
live next to me. It's a 40-second walk to Fenway.
That sounds great. I think O'Grady would fit in Boston for sure.
People, yeah, you would be like a cult hero immediately. This fucking O'Grady dude, he's great, dude. He's such a stud.
That would be great. I'd love it. Speaking of those guys, what do you lockout goes away, everything's great. What's your outlook on the Sox this year? I know you could go on for a fucking hour about this, but
yeah, I could and I couldn't at the same time, because I think post lockout, I think we're going to see there was a lot of movement right before the lockout, which I thought was awesome, by the way. Like, I think that there should almost be like an NBA type deadline thing with free agency. Yeah. Like, that was cool as shit to see it unfold like that. But I think I think the most notable moves that the Red Sox will make in the offseason haven't happened yet. So it's hard to really say what I think the team will be. But I mean, the Rays won 100 games. They'll be good again. The Yankees are always in the mix. Even when they suck, they're always just like that Jaws shark looming in the water where they're never really dead. And they weren't. Like, it was pretty late into the season where it looked like they weren't even going to make the playoffs. And then they just do. They just never die. They never go away. And then Toronto is up. I don't even want to say they're up and coming. Like, they were right there. I think that, what did they come? One win shy of making the playoffs or something like that. It was, or some sort of crazy scenario where there would have been like a playoff game to get into the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, Toronto is scary good offense. Like, there's no easy outs in there. It's hard to pitch to that lineup. So yeah, I mean, will the Red Sox be competitive? For sure. But when you've got four legitimate teams in one division that are just going to be beating the piss out of each other for 162, that's it's entertainment. So it'll be a fight to the finish. I can't say that they're going to win the division. I don't believe that, but will they fight for a playoff spot? I do believe so. And then there's the Orioles.
battered Orioles fan checking in. Shout out RDT.
Yeah.
This team just bothers me. I'm not an Elias guy. I know everybody likes to think that they're an Elias guy. I actually like Ben Cherington in Pittsburgh a lot more. I feel like they're that's my hot take. I'm crafting right now. I'm in the workshop trying to figure out a way how I can get Ben Cherington to actually be the darling of like the new modern GM movement. So maybe you can help me out with that. It's, if you want to co-opt that take with me.
I have a t-shirt that says I'm a Ben Cherington guy.
The Pirates are just built well, I think. But the Orioles, we're AL East guys, the AL beast. I mean, obviously they're still in that phase where they're rebuilding and losing 100 straight. And they're also doing this weird thing where they're just not adding pieces. They love wallowing in their own shit. When you watch what's going on down the road in Baltimore, Fenway South, as it is now again, what's your take on their whole rebuild that they have going on?
So in talking to some of the guys that were on the team last year, they were like, it's not even really run like a real baseball team. Like they're happy to be collecting big league service time, and they're getting a big league paycheck, and they're just like, it's so depressing that there's no effort being made to actually compete. And the behind the scenes is such a shit show where like guys from other organizations are like, I've never seen something so not big league in the big leagues. So I found that to be interesting. But you'll love Jacob Nottingham. He's I just saw him out in Arizona, and he was the one. I don't know if you know him at all. He was going back and forth between like the Mariners to the Brewers to the Mariners to the Brewers to the So now I think he's gonna have a shot at being the catcher of the Orioles next year, which I'm excited about. I'm excited that Noddy's going to be within the division. But as far as reasons to watch that team,
I don't.
If I didn't know him, not a whole lot of reasons to watch that team.
Do they make your 10 TVs when you do the 10 TV setup, or is that kind of off on the side?
I mean, there's a really good chance that they're playing someone who has a player that's worth watching, but usually that player is not on the Orioles.
This is why I just watch more Nationals games now. Do you have a take on guys like watching more than me? Obviously, because you're a national unbiased baseball journalist, but I just have fallen in love with the Nationals way before like the World Series run, obviously. But when you see guys that kind of have more than one favorite team, so to speak, does that bother you? I know a lot of hardos on Twitter will love to tell people that you're only allowed to have one, but who's to say you can't love more than one?
So my National League team is the Brewers. No one really gives me shit for that. And if they do, they just don't get it. It's like, all right, fuck you. Like, you don't get it. But I have so many teams. Like I don't know how I get away with it, but like the thing is, like I'll put you on and I'll root for you and I'll get genuine excitement and joy for your team's success. But if you would like last year, like I'm not going to celebrate the Braves winning the World Series. Like we did it. Yeah. Like, no, it's like, hey, fuck yeah, Braves fans. Like you deserve this. Like you guys are awesome. Like you kind of just, you put them on. And, but yeah, like the Brewers, I did that with, I mean, the Reds, those fans are really cool. And then Braves fans and then Mariners fans, Padres fans suck. They fucking suck. I don't know. I know that you played there, but Brian, like, these fucking assholes are the worst. First of all, they hated me because of Barstool. I was like, okay, so you don't like me for things that I personally have nothing to do with. So like, that's how educated these people are. And then they were calling me a grifter because when like I went to San Diego in 2019, when no one was on Tatis's dick, I was one of the first dudes to be like, hey, this is the fucking guy. Like he's about like, I was the first person to call Tatis the face of baseball, bar none. And then he takes off like I thought he would. And I make a face of baseball t-shirt with him on it. Padres fans went nuts. They were like, this guy is just trying to profit off of Padres fans. Like we suffered for so long and now we're good. And now they want to give us attention. I was like, did you think I was going to make a t-shirt for fucking, I don't even want to throw a ricochet shot at someone who sucks, but like, I mean, you're just not gonna, like make a Padres t-shirt when the team sucks, the fans aren't interested, and there's no like superstar. Like Tatis is a full-blown mega star. So yeah, that's how it works. And then when they were saying like you're a grifter, I was like, by the way, we have a partnership with the Players Association. So we're like, when they were like, yeah, buy local, like don't buy his shirt, buy local. And it's like, all right, so you're diverting money away from Tatis to give money to Joe Blow in San Diego. Like it makes no sense. Those fans fucking suck. But I do love the ballpark, and I do obviously love the broadcast. I think it's one of the best, if not the best, in baseball. But yeah, I just had to go on that little rant there.
I can't. I first of all, Petco is beautiful. It really, beautiful. I mean, there's some awesome stadiums. Fenway, obviously. We talked about Wrigley on here.
Coors.
Coors is really cool. I played there last year for the first time, but man, something about Petco and a lot this year was just really cool. It's a great spot. It really is. And the fans, I cannot say bad things about the Padres fans because I was somewhat of a cult hero there too, even though I sucked because of a stupid radio show out there. So they're on my good.
What happened?
I like this. I was on a radio show. This is actually the first guys we had on this podcast, Ben Wood's radio show out there. That basically came, Preller has the, he's the wheeler dealer getting all these guys. And last offseason, you might not remember, but I was the first domino that fell in the huge offseason that the Padres had last year. So it got overshadowed about 5 days later by, just a couple guys like Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove. You might have heard of him. Mm-hmm. But I was first. And it came up as it was a split deal, so it's major league deal, but it put me on the 40-man roster. It wasn't a guaranteed, major league deal. So it comes out and basically these guys were on the radio and they're like looking and they're like, who the fuck is Brian O'Grady? And it just turned into this stupid Irish bit. He went into an Irish accent and somebody tweeted at me. And it was fun. I was like, I got to hear this. And it was funny. So fast forward, I come on the show. We waited till St. Patty's Day in spring training for me to go on the show. And I came on with a stupid, bad Irish accent too. I was like, oh, top of the morning to you. It's Brian O'Grady. And they just loved it. And it just went off from there. So since then, I like the most support I get is from their fans, without a doubt. So it's been cool. My birthday in Petco, they right field, they sang happy birthday to me, I think 9 fucking times.
Really?
The whole game, they were just singing happy birthday to me.
That's amazing.
Like a buck fucking 60.
Yeah.
But it was so I can't, Padres fans, they have a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I can totally see that for sure. But when I watch those games, especially last year, once they actually welcomed fans back, because obviously the empty ballpark was, brutal. For waiting that long for the Padres to be good, and then finally they were good, and having no fans that's brutal. So when they welcomed the fans back to 100% capacity, those crowds were nuts, so much energy. I loved it. So I have respect and admiration for their passion for baseball, but my personal experience with Padres fans on Twitter, not a positive one. And they could not be more in the wrong as it pertains to that exchange. So I am bitter. I am very petty. I do hold grudges. So it's weird because I want to like them. I do. When I'm watching those games and I see them going nuts and how loud they are, I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. And then you remember it's oh, but they were dicks for no reason. I'm trying to create merch for all teams that I think the fans are going to want to buy. And the funny part is I didn't make any extra money off of it. It's that was kind of just part of the job. It's you do the podcast, you do the videos, you tweet, you blog, you make merch. I didn't get a cut. I didn't get a single cent extra for the Tatis t-shirts. So I just got dragged for being this money hungry piece of shit. And I'm like, dude, I just doing my job. Just doing my job. Just trying to help you guys out, So that's my experience with Padres fans.
Big job, guy. Yeah, that's unfortunate they did that. We'll have to maybe when we put this out there, I'll have to put a tweet come to your defense to the Padres faithful out there that's still like me.
I think they just weren't educated enough. They didn't know the deal.
Yeah. Well, now since obviously you're a great friend of the pod, and I'm going to Japan, you can now have an official Japanese team. The Seibu Lions can be your Japanese.
That's where Daisuke Matsuzaka came from.
Yes, they actually just had a huge set. He officially retired, and they just had a huge ceremony for him, at the end of this year.
Yes. So when I saw that you were going to the Seibu Lions, I was like, I know that team. That's where the Red Sox got Daisuke Matsuzaka from. So I have a couple of friends now that are in the KBO, but I think you might be the only person that I know that's playing in Japan at the moment. who else would I know that's in that league right now?
Oh man, there's a good amount like a new crop going this year of guys with a little bit of big league time. Trying to think. Ryan McBroom from the Royals. Former Ray Dietrich Enns, pitcher, lefty.
Yeah.
Just got was with them this past year. He's actually come with me to Cebu.
Matt Shoemaker, I think.
Matt Shoemaker signed over there. Gregory Polanco.
Did he really?
Yeah, Gregory Polanco. There's a couple bigger names. Freddie Galvis.
Did he really?
Yeah, dude. He signed like a 2-year, I want to say like $4 or $5 million deal. Yeah, dude. It's nowadays it's obviously really good baseball. And guys come back. Years ago it used to be like if you went over there, that was your move. That was kind of what you were doing. But now you've seen all these guys go Korea or Japan and have success and, find their way back and play again in the major league. So people are like, yeah, let's do it.
That's wild.
Yeah. So there's more I'm missing that you would absolutely know names for sure.
How difficult of a decision was that for you when you're like, there's no way that I'm not going to at least get a minor league deal. Yeah, I got to hang in there. And then you get this offer from a team in Japan. I just know from how my brain works. If I had to pick between guaranteed money, call it $3 million on a 1-year deal with the Cebu Lions, or a minor league deal, or there was no interest at all, I would retire, I think, before I went to Japan, just because I'm so into my routine that it would be such a culture shock that I wouldn't be able to handle it.
No, it's definitely gonna be a culture shock. I'm looking forward to experience it, all the different stuff. I'm gonna go in with an open mind and try to enjoy it, all of it, because it's gonna be so different. But no, for me, I knew this was coming for a few years, because if you go back and look at my career in the minor leagues, it started off good, and then there was a 2.5-year stretch there. Once I got the high A really quick, and then high AA, had some injuries too. I struggled, and then 2018 was basically make or break for me. I was that close to getting released, made an adjustment, and thankfully fucking started smashing some baseballs and took off there. And but so then I 19, before I got called up for the first time, I was raking, and it was been going on. It was August. It was August now, so I was starting to get kind of frustrated, thinking well, I just ain't gonna get a shot, whatever. So I knew that the Asia route would probably be there for me. Switched agents, got called up about 5 days later for the first time. Did that, but this entire time, I never really got an opportunity to just play,
right?
Or not just pinch hit, which is fucking really hard. So my numbers in the big leagues are not good, because a majority of these at bats are, someone who really follows baseball. Yeah, it's tough, which is, it's not an excuse. You got to figure out how to do it. But
if that's not what you've been doing your whole life, then it's just wildly different. You have to figure, if you've never played professionally, then it's hard to comprehend. If you look at all the big league talent, these guys have been the best of the best their entire lives, and then you get to the big leagues and it's all right, well, now this is the best in the world. So there has to be a pecking order once you get there, and not everyone is going to get to play every single day. And once you are playing every single day and you get to the big leagues and now you're not playing every single day, that is an adjustment. I don't think it's an excuse. I think it's fucking hard. It's not the same game. To go from playing every single day, getting 4 or 5 at bats, to then maybe I get an at bat here and a bat there. I could go 6 days between seeing live pitching. And that's the other thing too. It's well, seeing taking batting practice versus seeing live pitching. And even if you're standing in on someone's bullpen, it's not the same. There's nothing that can emulate real big league action. There's nothing like that. So if you're not getting it consistently, it's fun. That's why Travis Shaw was he came over from Milwaukee to return to the Red Sox. And he was playing every day for a while, most of his big league career. And then when he ended up back in Boston, his role was you're like the designated closer facer. And
good luck.
He was like, yeah, it's like, I'll just sit on my ass all game. And then, we have a situation where we need a lefty bat. Go grab a bat, and you're facing this dude's closer, and he's got 98 with a wipeout slider and a sick changeup. Good luck. And that's your job. Like, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, man, that was a big part of it. And like, for me, the other, like, blessing and curse at the same time for me was like, I went to the Reds DFA traded me to Tampa. So I was on a World Series team in 2020 with Tampa in that fucked up year anyway. And then I signed a deal with the Padres, who, had serious high expectations. Like, and there was really only one spot left on that team. So I was the guy who just went boom, 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 boom. And, it is what it is. But they, I was about to go to the KBO before last season. And that was a huge reason I got the Padres deal, because the leverage I had there got them to give me that, to keep me here. So
what team was
this year, man? The Hanwha Eagles.
I'm an LG Twins guy myself.
LG, no, never the Twins, but so then this year, dude, it basically came down to, for me now, like, my numbers in AAA are great. I can go AAA and hit 330 with 30 homers again. It won't change the view on me by, major league front offices. It just won't. For me, going to Japan now, that's a step up from there. If I put up those numbers there, then we're talking. That'll change opinions on myself. And yeah, it's good guarantee money. It's good competition. It's everything. So it's going to be an experience. My wife's also very pregnant right now, so our baby's coming in the very beginning of May. So I'll have to fly back when that happens.
Baby number one.
Baby number one, man. So that'll be another interesting part of it, but it's too good of an opportunity to pass up, man. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm supposed to be there now. Unfortunately, shit's crazy in the world right now, but I'm getting closer. I think like the end of this month, we'll be able to head out, and they start March 24th, I think, is opening day. So I still should have plenty of time to be ready to go. And if MLB is not playing yet, you'll just have to wake up early and watch your Cebu Lions.
Is there a way to watch it here besides like a Reddit stream? Like, is there like a package I can get?
It's like MLB TV, like it's called like Pacific League TV.
I'm all in on that.
So you can get it.
I'm all in.
Once I figure it out, I will let you know, because I believe it's in mostly Japanese, so we'll have to figure out the whole login situation and stuff. But
there's definitely ways to get around that.
You're probably a smarter guy than I am with that. So
yeah, actually, who I became friends with?
I'll send it to you.
I'm friends with Koji Uehara's son, so I'll just be like, dude, like, can you walk me through this? He can just straight up be like, yeah, this is what you need to do. And I'm going to actually, you know what? I'm going to request some Cebu Lions merch. I'll rock the shit out of that all day.
Let's do it. Yeah, I will. I'll send you some, and then you can put my face on there, face of baseball, Cebu Lions.
Done.
In Japan.
Done.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. It'll be, it's going to be an experience. That's all I can say. I'm looking forward to it. I'm scared. I'm fucking everything. It's definitely, I'm from Philly. I live in Florida now. I live in the South now, but never been over that way. Been in Dominican, been to Mexico playing. So that's going to be totally different, and it'll be fun.
I'll link you up with Dallas. Dallas he's all about it. He had to go over there with Oakland. I think the Red Sox opened up against Oakland in Japan in 2008. And he's all about it. So
I've heard nothing but good things, honestly. So I'm sure I'll be all right. I'll might get lost a time or two or something, but we'll figure it out. You tweeted the other day though about college baseball.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna try to go all in on college baseball this year?
So last year I dipped my toe in the water a little bit, and I loved it. I mean, who gives a shit about spring training baseball when you have actual competitive baseball happening between D1 teams where some of these guys are going to get drafted, and you have like powerhouse programs like Vandy and Arkansas, and so I really got into it last year. But I mean, if there's no Major League Baseball happening, then you can dive headfirst in that. It's I tailed off once opening day rolled around. I tried to like kind of loosely keep up with it, but I was tweeting the shit out of the college baseball highlights, and then obviously you're not going to mix in college baseball highlights unless it's something crazy, because there's so much going on once opening day kicks off. But that people keep asking me like, who's your team? And I don't think I ever want to pick one. I love who doesn't love being courted? Just being courted forever. If I don't announce my favorite college baseball team last year, it was, I think I might still have a picture of all the boxes at my apartment. And it was because I would be tweeting out these college baseball highlights, and every single program was like, yo, let me send you some merch. Let me send you a t-shirt. Let me send you this. LSU sent me a fucking box the size of a refrigerator with every item, I think, in their entire store. I was like, if I'm going to be a fan of anyone, like I could be an LSU fan and I could wear an LSU piece of merch for the next month and a half and not wear the same thing twice. So they were cool. Benintendi was trying to get me into Arkansas. That was like the other funny thing was like the big league guys that were seeing me tweet about college baseball, and they were trying to recruit me to their alma mater. Pedroia with ASU, he like that was like a no brainer. So yeah, it was fun. It was very fun watching for the first time, because I think what happened was Conor McGregor was fighting, and I was like, all right, how the fuck do I like, you can't just like buy this pay-per-view, like how do you watch this? And it's like, oh well, it's on ESPN Plus. It's like, all right, so I have to download ESPN Plus, make a membership, and then like now what? Now I gotta like subscribe to ESPN Plus for the whole year for like whatever it is, like $70, and then you gotta buy the fight on top of that. So like now I just basically spent like $150 on this McGregor fight. I'm like, well, what am I gonna do with ESPN Plus for the rest of the year? And ESPN Plus has a fuck ton of college baseball games. Like they're all there. So I got very into it, and it wasn't just a matter of, searching Twitter for highlights. Like I was watching the games. I was like, yeah, this is a good time. I'm into this. So I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm looking forward to getting back into it this year.
Yeah, that's cool. It's definitely a different game than pro ball in general, definitely in the major leagues, but there's just a lot of passion out there, from some of them fan bases, and there's just some ridiculous shit that they do. I went to Rutgers University in New Jersey. The Todd father, Todd Frazier.
Yes.
The old tuna, great dude. But it's, man, they do one thing that really bothers me now. Their pitchers wear like the catcher's armband.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't stand. I hate that. I keep wanting to like comment on the Instagrams and stuff and be like, please take those the fuck off.
Yeah.
That looks awful.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? College. It's what they do. They'll learn.
Yeah.
Whatever. If they win games, I'll be happy. But
I love that they just let them play too. I mean, there's bat flips to the moon, and pitchers are not getting upset about it. It's like, yeah, I mean, like if we do it to you, then my guy's gonna do it even worse. So it is, and the fact that they're just so amped up, like the competition is so intense during a time of the year where if you're just a Major League Baseball fan, then you're used to watching like, all right, it's the 6th inning, so now number 97 is getting an at bat. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Like you couldn't be less invested in the competition. And then you flip over to college baseball, and like these guys are going at it. Like it's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, obviously Major League Baseball plays way more games than college baseball, but it is like every college game is just like do or fucking die. It feels like there is no lack of energy in those games, whereas MLB players can make it look like there is definitely a lack of energy because they're fucking that good, honestly. Like you can just make it look like you're going through the motions when you're just that smooth and good at shit. And college is not like that. They're fucking dugouts going crazy the whole damn time. It's cool. It's a cool change of pace for sure.
I love it.
But one last thing before I send it over to JA for some rapid fire and we get you out of here. Let's talk about your future plans, man. I know we chatted a little bit before, but let's talk about that now. What do you got?
So it's been crazy, like the whole process. I mean, we talked before about how like I've had all these experiences that are similar to that big leaguers would get. And this is fucking very similar to where, you know, you've got an agent and like you get a call and be like, hey, this place is interested for this much. And then this place is interested for that much. And then like, oh, like you might be going back and like, you know, like I feel like I've worn like 4 different uniforms in the last like 2 months. Like, you know, you picture yourself coming back because you want to come back. And then you know, someone else is like, hey, we'll do this for you. And we see this, and this for you. And you're like, oh, that sounds enticing. So it's been a crazy process. It's been frustrating at times. Like I still haven't signed anything. Like I haven't agreed to terms with anybody. I haven't signed anything. I'm kind of just letting it play out because with the lockout, like there's no reason to, I guess, like rush into employment because it's like, well, who knows when opening day is going to be? Who knows when spring training is going to start? Who knows how long spring training is going to be to where, like, are we going to go down there and do interviews or whatever? So, yeah, I mean, it's really about, you know, finding the best fit, the best opportunities. Cause like, I do want to continue to grow in the baseball space. Like, I think whatever I end up doing in 2022 and beyond, like there will be things that I'm doing, like whether I go back to Barstool or not, there will be things that I'll be doing that are brand new. Like I want to try out like new opportunities within the baseball space. And I think that that'll be really exciting if some of that stuff comes to fruition. I have new ideas, stuff that I want to do in terms of making baseball content. I think in 2019, I did some vlog stuff, but I feel like we could do way better stuff now in terms of the connections and the networking that's happened since then. And yeah, so I'm just excited to just get back at it. And I don't know where that's going to be, but yeah, the process, as I'm sure you can relate to, is it's crazy. So
it is, man, but do your thing. And yeah, it's gonna, you know what you want. I love seeing you with Barstool. I enjoy that, but I'll be following you wherever the hell you end up next, whether that's in Japan or if you're still in Boston,
maybe I'll go crazy with it. I'll just follow you to Japan and I'll just switch. I'll throw everyone a curveball. I'll be like, wait a second, what? He just only covers baseball in Japan now?
Strictly NPB. You can.
Yeah,
I got enough room in my apartment. You can come on.
Perfect. Perfect. I'm down. I'm ready for this.
All right, I'll let them know. All right, Jay, hit them with the rapid fire, bro.
No, I'm just thinking, you know, unbiased international baseball journalist has
True.
quite the ring to it. So
true. Yeah.
Something to consider.
One of my really good friends, Casey Kelly, he pitches for the LG Twins.
I played for his dad with the Reds. Great guy. PK.
Did you?
Yep.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Casey's got unreal flow going on right now. I just missed him by like 12 hours. I was in Arizona, not last weekend, but the weekend before. And the day that I got there was the day, like he had left the night before. And I was like, fuck. Yeah, I love him. He's a quality human being. So yeah, maybe we can go international with it and I'll cover the KBO as well.
I love it. So I actually stole rapid fire from Kevin Millar. I love Kevin Millar. I think you probably love Kevin Millar.
Love Kevin Millar, Uncle Kevin.
Is there just like one story or one interaction you've had with him that kind of stands out?
Kevin Millar?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a few. I'm trying to think. Yeah, okay. All right. So of the ones that I can tell.
I was waiting for that caveat right there.
Yeah. So Kevin knew that Clay Buchholz and I did not get along. So that was one of one of my biggest regrets was going in too hard on Clay. I didn't realize that he was like one of the most popular guys on the team. Like everyone loved him. I was like, I'm just absolutely slaying this dude that everyone apparently loves. So I was talking to Kevin about that, about how I had regrets about how I treated Clay. And he's like, you know what? Like, cause I think they live like on the same street. They live in the same like cul-de-sac or whatever. So he was like, I'll mend that fence for you. He's like, we'll get the boys together. We'll have some beers. We'll talk it out. We'll hug it out. And then everything will be fine. And I was like, someone else, we have a mutual friend who it might've been 2016, 17 around there, tried to mend the fence. And he was just like, absolutely not happening. So I was like, yeah, good luck with that. Cause he hates me. So I forget, like that conversation happened during quarantine. I want to say like we were doing the rock, paper, scissors thing that I did during quarantine in 2020. And then early 20 or like probably over the summer of 2021. So over a year later, I get a FaceTime call from Kevin Millar. I'm like, I don't know what this could be about. And I answer it, and it's Clay Buchholz. just a cold call from Kevin Millar, and it's Clay Buchholz. And I was like, hey man, like, I'm sorry. Like I was an asshole. Like I definitely, if there's one thing I could take back, it would be, going in as hard as I did on you. Like that was fucked up. It was like, some of it was funny, at least to me. But if I could do it all over again, I don't think I would have done that. And he was like, I appreciate that and blah, blah, blah. So I still would love to be able to get Clay on the podcast, but I think if I do that, I want it to be in person. I don't want it to be like a Zoom thing. I want it to be, we can even have Millar there. We'll all sit down and we'll tell some stories and sing Kumbaya.
I love it. Yeah. Anytime Uncle Kevin's involved, it just makes me happy just watching anything that guy does.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of people, of course, know like Dave Portnoy, like the character, like the caricature he's online, but like, what's it actually like day to day? Like when you like were working under him, what was it like having him as your boss?
So I've known Dave now for over 10 years. We met in 2011 because he hosted the New England Sports Blog Awards, and I swept that thing. Like I fucking walked out of there with every award that you could win. And I kind of like shouted out Barstool when I went up there, because I won like best Red Sox blog and I won like best overall New England sports blog. And then when I won that, I was like, thanks for voting for me, but like Barstool should have won this. I don't know why I did. So we kind of like connected after that. And I used to send him stuff that like, I was like, I can't do anything with this, but like, this would be perfect for Barstool. And I would send him stuff all the time. So he knew that my sense of humor and my feel for what Barstool's vibe was on point. So it was kind of like a no brainer when they brought me on in 14, that he, it wasn't like a, hey, we'll give this a shot. It was like, yeah, like, of course we're going to bring, like, why wouldn't he be the Red Sox guy if he wanted to do that? So our relationship is, it's kind of like what he says publicly, that, like he gives the most shit to the people that he likes the most, or that he are closest in his circle. Like he's not going to rip you if he doesn't like you, or if you're not one of his guys. So I think we've always had that mutual respect for each other, because he knew that I wasn't just someone that he plucked off the street and gave this winning lottery ticket to. He knew that I had been doing it for 8 years for free before I ended up on his doorstep. So like he knows the grind to get to this point. But yeah, he's always been super cool to me. I mean, like there's definitely been times where he was a fucking asshole for sure, but like you just don't, with Dave, you don't take that stuff personally. Or at least I don't. There were maybe a couple times where I was like, that was pretty fucked up, but like you get over it quick because it's Dave. So yeah, I think like people will ask me like, what is Dave like? And my answer to that is always, it depends on who you are. Like, you know, if with me, he's always been great. Then there's just people that he just, you know, not going to waste his time with you if he doesn't see the vision with you. But with me, he was always great, always fair. You know, I think even just the times that he was an asshole to me, I feel like there was just always that psychological motivating factor where like he would always say that like I was his son and being the coach's kid is not always the easiest thing. Like you're like, you get disciplined in a way that the other kids in the team don't get disciplined, and the expectations for you are higher when you're the coach's kid. So I felt that. And when he would say like mean shit to me, I would take it to heart because like you know, you want that approval, and approval is not something that he would ever really give out. So when I did get that from him, I don't think that there was a better feeling than getting, you know, praise from Dave the 2 times that happened in 8 years. But yeah, no, I learned so much from him, and our relationship is it's unique, but it's definitely one that I value a lot.
Has he ever pronounced your last name correctly?
Yes. Yeah. But I genuinely think that there's something wrong with his brain. There's just something wrong with his brain where he can't say people's names correctly. But I thought if maybe I give it 5 years, he'll eventually get it. But no, he still says it wrong. But he has said it correctly before, and I have an audio recording of it. So it's like, I know you can fucking say it, and I know that you know you're saying it wrong, but it's almost like that. It's almost like a wrestling gimmick where you don't like, I don't know if he's doing it on purpose or not. I really don't. Like, gun to my head, is Dave saying my name wrong on purpose? I don't know for sure, but I want to say he's not doing it on purpose. He just does that with names. It's not just my name. He doesn't get anyone. He used to call Feidelberg like Fiedelberg. Like Feidelberg was Fiedelberg. Coley was Cooley. He just can't get people's, like, I almost wish that like my last name was Smith. Actually, no, because he hates Smitty. But yeah, like I wish it was something that you just can't mess up. But it is what it is. But that's how I know that people don't listen to the podcast. So like if someone comes up to me and they're like, hey man, big fan, like, what's up, Carrabis? I'm like, are you a big fan though? Are you a big fan? Or you've only seen me interact with Dave on like stool scenes? Like, I say Carrabis at the beginning of every single episode of Section 10, all 450, whatever the fuck episodes, I say my name. So if you listen to the podcast, you definitely know how to say it. If you say it the way Dave says it, then I know that it's like, oh yeah, like you've seen me interact with Dave. Like that's the extent of your fandom. So
that's fascinating. Yeah, Carrabis kills me every time.
Yeah.
A couple quick baseball things. Juan Soto's new contract. What number will it start with?
Apparently not 350.
Yeah, not 350.
I said it was going to start with a 5, but I think the safe bet is going to be like high 4s, something like that. But is he a Boris guy?
I think so. Yeah.
If he's a Scotty B
I-
guy, I wouldn't be surprised.
Because he
if
said
got
something about
5.
wanting to test free agency, which is a classic. I'm not staying here line. That
Yeah.
Boris Connors always say.
I've never been more scared playing first base than when that guy was hitting. True story.
Really?
Dude, he hits ball. I mean, he hits balls hard.
Yeah.
He's stunned. Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah.
No, is there just like one baseball player that you've always wanted to interview, but you haven't to this point?
Barry Bonds.
That's a good one.
Oh,
I don't know if you know
Zero
this about me.
hesitation.
Oh yeah. If you go on Barry Bonds' Instagram page, I've been doing this for 5 years. Every single time he posts on Instagram, I comment, "You the man, Barry." Every single time. Within seconds. He's the only person that I have
turned on.
Yeah, he's the only person that I have notifications on for. And every time that he posts on Instagram, I comment, "You the man, Barry." And I've been doing it at least since 2017. So every single post, unless it's like a tribute to someone that died, because he does that a lot. If it's like a tribute to someone that died, then I'll skip that one. But for any other post, "You the man, Barry," and it's always within like 20 seconds of it being posted. And he's never blocked me. He's never acknowledged it. He's never commented back. He's never liked the comment, but
He knows.
he has to know. He doesn't even have that many like I have more followers than Barry Bonds. I think he's got like let me see how many followers he has on Instagram right now. I would say he has like less than 100,000. Barry Bonds on Instagram. Oh, he has 151,000. Okay. So he has more than
I didn't know he was on Instagram.
Yeah, he has 151,000. I have 111,000, and I don't miss a notification. Like that's not that many followers to where you're just like, damn, can't keep up with this. And especially if for every single time you post something and it's the first comment every single time for 5 years, he definitely like, how do you not like at least throw me a like? That's what I think is crazy. That's what's crazy. So
he's like, who the fuck is this clown that comments on my Instagram 12 seconds after I post it every time?
Every time. And it's a blue check. I have a blue check on Instagram. Like, how is he not curious to be like, what's this fucking guy's deal? Like, all right, if I message you, will you stop doing this? Like,
Oh my God.
I don't know. Like the fact that like no one, not Barry, not anyone in his circle, not one of his family members, one of his friends has been like, "Hey man, like we love how much you support Barry and that you love Barry. Like, just let you know, like we see it and we appreciate you." Nothing from anyone for half a decade of trying to court Barry Bonds. It's crazy.
That's fucking funny. Fucking funny.
I have two more.
Sure.
And then thank you so much for your time. This has been fantastic.
Of course.
So I know that we've talked about this. You said you're married to the game, but has
Mhm.
that commitment ever wavered?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Like I've definitely had relationships, but I don't think there was a single girl since I started this professionally who ever felt like I prioritize her over my career. And I think that that's okay. Because it's not like I'm the way that I explained it before was that I'm not saying that I am the best or the greatest at baseball content creation. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I have a chance to be that. I'm in the conversation for that. I'm on the doorstep of that. So when you're like one of the best, like Vladdy and Tatis and Shohei and like these guys, like you can have a debate over who like the best player in like Mike Trout, obviously, whatever. Like there's a lot of guys where it's like if you could be on the doorstep of being the best or the greatest, you've got to be all in. Like you've got to be like, hey, like this is what I'm doing, and it's gonna take 100% focused to accomplish being the GOAT. I know Brady has Giselle, so maybe it's not the best example, but baseball is every day. So yeah, I think, and even Brady, I mean, like, you know, like he's talked about how like now it's time to be dad and to be a husband. Like, you know, he's in his mid 40s and he's now just being like, yeah, like I'm going to he's telling you I'm prioritizing my family now, because I wasn't doing that the entire time. Like that's the sacrifice that you make. So for me, I kind of make that an upfront thing. Like if I'm going to like start seeing someone, or I'm going to start dating someone, like I've only really been in one kind of like serious relationship since I started. But yeah, like sacrifices were made, and I think the order of priorities, career was always number one. And I don't think that ever shifted. And I didn't necessarily feel bad about it because I was upfront about it. Like I was never like, hey, like this is like, I'm all in on this relationship and I'll do whatever you need me to do. It's like, no, like I've had to end relate. Like there was a girl that lived out of state that I was really into, connected with, everything was great. But I was like, I can't get in a car and travel, whatever it is, 4-6 hours both ways to make this work. And I feel bad asking you or depending on you to be the one who travels whatever back and forth. So I was just like, all right, this isn't going to work. So I think Married to the Game for sure, still very much in effect. I think it would have to be like the perfect situation for me to be like, yeah, like this is something that I want to do, but I don't think I'll ever truly be all in. Like that's why, you know, you look at some of these guys at Barstool and it's crazy how they're able to make it work. But I think a lot of their partners are making sacrifices. Like there's a lot of just free time that they have that is not shared with who they're married to or dating, because like they're streaming or they're recording or they're watching games because they have to live tweet it and stuff like that. I mean, like I talked about my schedule before during the season. You know, I wake up at 9, I start work at 10 a.m. I'm off the grid from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. so that I can work out and eat dinner. Then the games will start at 7 p.m. and then they go until 1:32 a.m. And that's 7 days a week. Like I don't take a day off. I went like that trip to Arizona was my first vacation since I think 2006. So like, I don't like, I wouldn't date me. I wouldn't date me. It doesn't sound fun. And I have empathy for anyone who is interested, because it's like, yeah, like it may seem like a perfect fit. And you may say, I'm willing to make these sacrifices. But when it comes down to it, I don't want to ask you to make those sacrifices. Like go, like you're an awesome person. Go be with someone who can give you all the time in the world. Like, cause that's never going to be me.
Okay. All right. So this is my favorite question that I ask people is what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, the best piece of advice I've ever received was never take criticism from someone that you would not seek advice from.
That's a good one.
That's profound. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I might co-opt that.
That's a good one.
I like it.
Jared Carrabis, the profound tribal baseball chief of Twitter.
That's me. Mm-hmm.
Dude, this has been so much fun. Thank you for your time. I had a blast. We'll definitely be keeping up with you wherever you end up next, even though it's probably going to be Japan with me. So
Roomies.
Hopefully, roomies.
Roommates.
Hopefully in a little while we can catch up again. Maybe I'll be in Japan and we can have you back on one of these days. But thank you, dude. Really appreciate it. Take care and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. Best of luck in Japan. And I fully expect to make appearance number 2 while you're over in Japan. Like, I don't know what the time difference is, but I mean, if I got to wake up at 5 a.m., like we're doing it.
Done deal. We'll make that happen without a doubt.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.